Hello, everyone, and welcome back to HTFC, the home of football, here on the Hitting the Field Network. I'm your host, as always, Edgar Rodriguez. We are back for another episode, and I'm joined alongside.
And I am Patrick Deliana. We're back in the podcast room, and we have two very fun segments for you guys. Again, as always, Champions League. We're looking at the first leg of the round of 16, Edgar, and then we're going to preview, three segments. We're also going to preview some games that are going to happen over the weekend and some USL news. So it's going to be very, very exciting, Edgar.
Yes, it is. First of all, what are you wearing, my friend?
That sounded a bit negative. What are you wearing?
No. It's just
I'm wearing.
The public needs to know.
Yes, you're right. I'm wearing the 2023, or I believe 2023 Yokohama FC home jersey. So right now they're in the second division in Japan. They did get relegated last season, but it's a nice jersey.
It's a nice jersey. I like it.
And I love it. It's
you got the two-tone blue going on.
I know. I like it. Neat little pattern. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to kind of get this underway.
There we go. And just before we start, I am repping Nona Soccer Academy. It's an obligation, at least once a semester. There we go. Okay, your hometown team. Anyway, let's get started with the Champions League because the round of 16 first legs served up some bangers. So let's start in Belgium, Club Bruges against Villa. Yeah. Patrick, you kind of backed to Bruges to start with this, but I warned you that Villa's new signings are doing insanely. Bailey got us started for Villa, third minute. Got them started on the right foot. Bruges did equalize in the 12th minute, but then two second-half goals, including an Asensio penalty, giving Villa the edge going to Villa Park.
Yeah, I did have Bruges coming out on top on this one.
What's going on there?
And now I've been proven wrong, or I just jinxed them bad enough.
Maybe you did.
It's like, I gotta stop just guessing who's gonna win at this point. I mean, Bruges, I guess. I just expected more out of them, considering how they knocked out Atlanta, especially away.
Of course.
So I figured at home against Villa, Villa, Premier League side, so maybe a little bit higher quality in terms of competition. But I did expect them to at least hold their own a little bit better than a 3-1. I mean, I understand there was an own goal late in the game, too, a penalty, careless at the end of the match. But an early start as well from Villa, that kills the momentum you have for almost the rest of the match. 3 minutes in. Bruges equalized in the 12th. But, I mean, at that point, mentally, the damage, I think, has already been done. 3 minutes into the match, and you're already down? No.
Right, and then it was an own goal to give Villa the lead again. Going into the second leg, going to Villa Park, I mean, it's tough. On European nights, man, that place is bouncing. Villa and Unai Emery know how to get the job done. I really can't see a way back for Bruges, and it's completely different to the knockout round. Of course, we saw Bruges take that late-minute winner, have that momentum going to the second leg. Right. This one, they have no momentum whatsoever.
I think it's wraps for them. Unfortunately, and I backed them, too, because I was like, I feel like we don't see them go far enough. They're always getting knocked out early.
Maybe this was the year, but yeah.
I feel like ideally this would have been the best draw they would have had out of all these opponents. But I guess even still, the quality is just a little bit too much for them.
A little too much for Bruges. They are 3-1 down heading into the second leg. Let's move on, though, because in Germany, one of the two games in Germany, Dortmund drawing 1-1 with Lille. Talk to me about that Adeyemi strike, that daisy cutter. I can watch that all day.
Yeah, that was such a satisfying game to watch. I mean, that reel that you sent me, that I saw that yesterday too. They posted, but it's like, oh my God.
On repeat.
Beautiful. But I mean, this was a slow burner. This was a really, really slow game.
It was.
I mean, Adeyemi, of course, scoring in the 22nd minute. Haraldson, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, if you're watching this, in the 68th minute for Lille, tying the match up. And, I mean, let's look at the numbers here, too. 7 total shots for Dortmund. Yeah. Only one of them being on target.
Both of the teams had one shot on target, and those were the goals. Yeah, that tells you the story.
That's all. I mean, there's not too much. I feel like Dortmund, for some reason, are a better team away from home in Champions League, interestingly enough.
They get that pressure piled on them. I feel like the yellow wall, as incredible as it is,
it's too intimidating.
And as it's supposed to be for the away team, but I feel like it gets to the home players as well.
I think so. It really, I don't think they can understand. They understand how to handle that home pressure.
Right.
So oftentimes it's almost like a negative thing for whatever reason.
It can't turn into that.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they go to France and then they win comfortably over there, because I don't feel like this is a strong Lille side either. We've seen stronger Lille sides in the past.
And it was a smash and grab job from them. I mean, just one shot on target like we talked
Yeah.
about. Same for Dortmund, but for Lille, that goal coming in the second half kind of looked like Dortmund were good to go. 1-0 lead headed into France, but Haraldson, like you said no thanks. We're going to change that. But I think this is one of the more intriguing ones heading into the second leg, though, Patrick, because we saw a lot of big scores, probably more than I expected.
Yeah.
A few ties are wraps already. I mean, we don't even need to play a second leg. We'll get to that soon. But this is one of those ones that's right in the balance.
Yeah, and I still am going to back Dortmund, though, because
I
feel more comfortable with them going through. And
Absolutely.
Again, like I said, Lille, they've had stronger sides in the past. This wasn't a game, but either way, that either team really convinced me, to be honest. So it could be, it's one of those that could be like, oh, it could really be 50-50.
Right.
Or it could be like a landslide in the next match. We'll just have to wait and see.
I do think that last year's finalists will go through eventually away at Lille. But yeah, an interesting first leg.
For sure.
Let's go to Madrid, because we had the
yes.
Madrid derby, but Champions League edition, and we hyped this up so much, Patrick.
Yes.
We talked about how in the last 3 Madrid derbies, it was 1-1. The other 2, a Real win and then Atleti win. So literally, I mean, impossible to call. But at the Bernabeu, I don't know if you saw the tifo before the match. That was art.
Yes.
At the Bernabeu.
I love tifos.
Real Madrid finding the edge.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, this was a really good game.
It
for
was.
both sides. Rodrigo scoring in the 4th minute, early on taking the lead. Alvarez equalizing in the 32nd, and then
Golazo.
Brahim Diaz, who's had a really good run of form.
He's
as
come
of
up
late.
in big moments
He
this year.
has,
Yeah.
and it's really. I think that's what they want to see, and I feel like that's a great way for him to prove himself that he belongs on this team. Of course, we see him take the lead 2-1. Real Madrid win the first leg 2-1.
Yeah.
So the young guys on the squad are delivering when they need to the most.
So we know that, headed into this, you can kind of predict what Cholo Simeone was going to do, and that was, sit back
Of course.
on the counter.
Of course.
I'm sure he was fully confident that his team could have held on to that 1-1 when Alvarez equalized. That turned out not to be the case. It's going to be so interesting at the Metropolitano in the second leg, because how do you think Atleti are going to approach this? I mean, they have to go for it.
They have to. They cannot sit back like
No.
you did in this game.
Yeah.
They're down.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be playing at home. So I'm sure they're going to feel more inclined to have that more attacking art style.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where Real Madrid is really dangerous.
Yeah,
One
absolutely.
slip up in the bag, they got you on the counter. So they have to. It's going to be a challenge for them, especially now that they're down. It's going to be definitely a challenge how to not get caught in transition, essentially.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Atleti's still in it, though.
For sure. I wouldn't be it's going to be very close.
But let me tell you a team that's
close.
not in it. It's because PSV lost 7-1 to the Arsenal in the Netherlands.
Arsenal.
Patrick, in a word, wrap this up. Thank you. I'll appreciate that.
Congratulations.
In a word, wrap it up. Fantastic.
I mean, 7-1. Wow. Round of
Yes.
16. Yeah. I think I also...
Real Madrid, see you in the quarterfinal.
I think I also jinxed PSV on this one, to be
You
honest.
did.
I
You
did.
did. What
I
is
did.
wrong with you, man?
But, I mean, if they were going to lose, I didn't think it was going to be 7-1 bad. Like,
Oof.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
But it's
man.
like, what do you say to yourself going into the second leg? Like, you're just...
It's 0-0, boys.
What do you
It's
do?
0-0.
At that point, what do
No,
you say
yeah,
to
I think you
yourself?
just go out
know?
there and kind of just try to damage limitation. We, knock on wood, will not concede 6 goals at the Emirates.
I would love to see that.
No, you wouldn't.
I would love to see that.
But we were just flying on all cylinders. No goals in the last 2 games. It looks like we saved all of our goals for
Yeah,
that night.
I guess the right occasion.
It
for the
was.
right occasion.
Absolutely. It's the biggest win in Champions League history in a knockout round match.
Really?
It is.
I actually
From an
didn't
away
know.
team. From an away
From
team.
an away team.
For an away
Oh.
team, 7 goals had never been scored before in a knockout Champions League
Wow.
match. So,
Congratulations to Arsenal.
little pat on the back.
For winning the most goals from an away team trophy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'll
sure.
happily accept that.
I mean, 6 different goal scorers too.
Yup.
Odegaard with a brace. as well.
Odegaard, that last goal, Benitez and goal. Ooh, not too good. Not too good, but, I'm humble. We won't spend too much time on the marvelous
I feel
Arsenal.
Like that's kind of set aside
That's
already.
right. That's right. Let's move on to probably another game, another tie that is wrapped up. Inter Milan, Thuram with a golazo to make it 1-0. And then that second goal from Lautaro Martinez. I mean, he almost broke the net. That ball, I thought it was going to go straight through the net. An arrow to make it 2-0. And Robin van Persie's Feyenoord are probably out.
I think so. I don't think they have the capability to knock Inter out. I mean, Inter, again, like I've said, they're one of the most informed teams in Europe.
They don't concede goals.
They don't. They're like a machine in the back.
It's unbelievable.
Total brick wall. It's insane.
It's crazy.
And Martinez, again, making me always eat my words because I don't know why. Like, I'm not saying I don't dislike him as a person. I just don't like him for whatever reason. It just annoys me.
He almost moved to Arsenal a few years ago. Kind of broke my heart a little bit. Anyway, but it's like, not to make it about Arsenal.
It's just like, I don't know. I've never been able to, like, I've never liked him all that much. But I know he's a good goal scorer.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But it's like, I can't like you for whatever reason.
He's proven you wrong this season, Patrick.
He really is. Especially this season, he's really turned up.
Yeah, and I mean, that strike, I mean, it fell to him in the box, and I don't think I've ever seen a ball hit that hard. And then Thuram as well. Brilliant finish from the cross in at the back post. You know, did everything he could to make it. He absolutely did, and I think Feyenoord at San Siro have very little. It's a Mount Everest to climb.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. Feyenoord, I'm sorry. They're done as well. I mean, even though it's not as bad as 7-1, we're talking about Inter.
We're talking about Inter.
2-0
is 10-0 if it's Inter.
And you still have to lock down Martinez, their main man up top. Not happening.
Not happening. Sorry. Let's go to a shocking result in the second game in Germany because Bayern Munich turned it up. Kane with a brace. I mean, it was a fantastic first goal. The header, Olise fizzed that ball in. I thought Kane was just going to absolutely, blaze it over the bar, but it's Kane. Absolute brilliant header. And that set the tone because then at 1-0, Frimpong had a marvelous chance to equalize it for Leverkusen. Neuer, Manu the Wall Neuer, right? Keeping it at 1-0, and I think from then on, Bayern were always favorites. Musiala took advantage of a mistake at the back for Leverkusen. And I think this one is also wraps, Patrick. I thought it was going to be so much closer.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering, like you mentioned before, this Bayern side has never beaten Leverkusen that was managed by Xabi Alonso.
I guess the Champions League is different, isn't it, for Bayern?
It has to be. Yeah. I guess they finally have clocked in.
I guess
and now they're on the roll. I mean, expected goals, 2.68 for Bayern. And then 0.33.
That tells you all you need to know. Expected goals. You like that, don't you?
No, I don't. I still don't. But it's
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
17 shots for Bayern. Yeah. 3 for Leverkusen.
Right.
Total domination.
Domination at the Allianz.
Total domination.
Before the match, the atmosphere in that place was just hostile. I mean, those Bayern fans make it so difficult. Similar to Dortmund, but I think Bayern are more used to it. They're more acclimatized to that big stage.
They're less likely to fumble.
Absolutely, sure. I agree. And Vincent Kompany, I mean, he's slowly gaining more and more respect from me. Anyway, I mean, in the Bundesliga a little better.
It was definitely
obviously,
an interesting time when we saw that move initially. Like, oh, he's going from Burnley to Bayern Munich. Like,
no,
what?
Absolutely.
What happened there?
And the fact that he was like 6th choice for Bayern. I mean, they tried so many other guys.
But could it also be just because it's Bayern? Like you could have Tuchel as the coach,
right?
I don't think he's a good coach. You could have him as a coach, and they'll do just fine.
Well, we saw at the end that wasn't the case. I think you have to give Kompany some credit here.
I like Kompany. I've loved him as a player. It's Bayern though, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's Bayern.
Okay.
They're the Giants of Germany.
A little harsh. But let's move on because Barca went to Benfica. It wasn't a 5-4, but it didn't need to be a 5-4 because Rafinha accepted a beautiful gift. Christmas came early for Rafinha. 1-0. Didn't even think about it. And that's the season he's having. Mm-hmm. He had that. The ball landed at his feet. Maybe took a touch. Possibly 2. I can't exactly remember. But just hit that ball. It took a little deflection. But 1-0 Barca. Go back to Montjuic.
And that's considering that Barca got a red card in the 22nd minute.
He's had a great season, but a little,
Yeah, but even so, they managed to hold on. I mean, holding off 26 shots from Benfica.
Szczesny.
Compared to just 10.
Szczesny got worked.
Yes. But Szczesny, he's a good keeper.
He
he's always
is.
been a really solid keeper. He's always been one of the ones I've always really liked. Mm-hmm. But, man, Benfica, they really couldn't find the net this time around. Not like the 4 other goals they put past them last time they met.
Szczesny made 8 saves. It was no 5-4 like we talked about. There was no chaos. There was none of that. But, again, Barca will be just fine with that because I think at Montjuic, again, it's not over, but it's hard to see, Benfica get back into this, especially on the form that Barca have been on recently.
For sure.
So, yeah, Barca likely to go through. But then at the end, to finish this segment off, Patrick, now...
Probably the most...
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just PSG.
It is.
PSG. It's such a PSG-esque game.
So, but here we go then, because we talked about Szczesny. Alisson made 9 saves. Man of the match performance. I believe, PSG had like 27 shots.
27 shots.
Salah, here we go. Salah gets replaced by Harvey Elliott, 87th minute. First touch of the ball, he scores a goal. And PSG are stunned. And I think at Anfield now, PSG needed, if they weren't going to win and if they didn't find a way through, that's their fault. Ultimately, with all the chances they had. Now going to Anfield 1-0 down, PSG are going to be regretting that.
Oh my, I mean, like, look, possession. PSG had 70% of the possession.
You never see that with Liverpool.
Passes. PSG made 693 passes compared
goodness.
to Liverpool's 295.
XG. Give me the XG, Patrick.
1.78 for PSG and then 0.27 for
0.27.
Liverpool. And then total shots, 27 total shots. And then including, obviously, the goal for Liverpool, the only goal in the match, 2 shots. And that's all they needed.
Football makes no sense sometimes, but that's the beauty of it. Because also they panned to Van Dijk and Alisson when Elliott scored the goal, and they almost celebrated more than anyone else. Yeah. And I think they deserve all of the credit to keep PSG out for the whole 90 minutes and for, to have that trust. I mean, taking Salah off is not something you see every day. No. But Harvey Elliott, almost forgotten this season, again, because of the impact that Salah has had, the Ballon d'Or potential season that he's had. But Harvey Elliott taking his opportunity beautifully, and Liverpool, inevitable.
I think they'll be feeling really good about that, especially at Anfield. We held them down, that whole time until the very end. This PSG side, that's arguably one of the better sides from PSG that we've seen. Also, I think they're comfortable without any of those big superstars that we've seen in years past. Obviously, like Neymar, Mbappe, Messi. Yeah. We saw how none of that really worked out.
Nope.
Now they have these actual players working as a team, and I think right now, PSG are pretty stunned at that they couldn't somehow find a result from this game.
Absolutely.
Now they have to go to Anfield, like you said.
Yeah, good luck, right? Good luck at Anfield for PSG. It might be another season where the European dreams fall apart at the hands of Harvey Elliott this year. That's about all the time we have for segment 1, though, Patrick. So much to look forward to in the second legs. Like we said, some of these ties are wrapped up, but many aren't still, and you never know. You never know in the Champions League. But let's look ahead at the weekend. Of course, before those second leg matches, there is league play to look forward to. Stay tuned.
Hello. So I guess the crew's getting ready for the next segment on one of our amazing shows. I'm Nick Cohen, host of Season 20 of Hitting the Field, and let me tell you about those amazing shows. On behalf of HTF, we hope you're enjoying today's content, but I'm here to tell you about everything else we offer here at the network. Mondays at 4, HTF Bets goes live for Season 10 with 3 gamblers that, although it may not always seem like it, are here to help us all earn a little bit of extra money while we watch sports. Diego Ortiz, Tyler Brownrigg, and Andrew Gregg's ball knowledge and fun personalities make this show a fan favorite. On Tuesdays, you all loved it, so we brought it back for Season 2. It's Girls Got Game, hosted by Frankie Noble, a show blending women in sports, the biggest sports news stories, and creative segments that make for a fun and engaging show. Next is everyone's favorite sports podcast, The Combine, hosted by who other than Ty Patton, an easygoing, conversational, and technical podcast dropping Wednesdays, also on Spotify at The Combine. Then tune in Thursdays at noon for the network's main show, Season 20 of Hitting the Field, hosted by me. Here, we'll cover any sport, any topic, any story, no matter how obscure. We love some football, basketball, hockey, F1. We also cover baseball, soccer, and we even have to show the UFC love sometimes. Penultimately, TGIF, because Friday is nighttime, hosted by Kathleen Moore and Matthew Bracker. Season 8 of Nighttime is where you'll turn to for all things March Madness, UCF sports, and other collegiate events. We're ending with something brand new. HTFN has never had 6 shows running at once. Also filmed in our new podcast studio is HTFC, hosted by Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick De Leon. Football, or soccer in America, is the most popular sport in the world. Across multiple leagues and cups, soccer is a year-round sport, and HTFC is your new source to stay updated. Also on Spotify, by the way, at HTFC. Outside of our 6-show roster, be sure to tune in to our other content, such as the Studio Days vlog, run by our vlog squad of Brianna St. Jean, Michaela Croker, Ashley Rowe, and Ben Huber. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram, Facebook, and X to stay updated on all HTFN news, Remember to subscribe right here on YouTube, leave a like and comment. And with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I'm Nick Cohen. Thank you for your continued support, and back to your regularly scheduled programming.
All right, everyone, and just like that, we're back for the second segment, Patrick. We had fun talking Champions League, but now we're going to move into league play around the world again, because you always, seem to find those games, I don't put my eye on, so I appreciate you for that, because, again, I'm excited for this segment. So let's start, though, in the Premier League.
Of course.
The morning game on Saturday, it's Forest against City. Huge for the top 4 race.
Huge, for sure. I mean, City, now that they're out of Champions League, the whole focus, I think, for the rest of the season is going to be, okay, get as many points as possible to make sure they don't miss out on Champions League for the following year, right? And then Nottingham Forest, I mean, they're chasing that Champions League dream, of course.
Yeah.
Title race, I mean, again, decided weeks ago, Liverpool champions, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah,
But
blah.
Nottingham Forest, they're having the season of their life.
Absolutely.
Right now. Forest fans I don't think it matters how the season ends.
No.
They'll be ecstatic with how good this season has gone.
I agree.
But this is a huge three-pointer right here. Huge three-pointer because they're closer and closer with each week to making it to Champions League. After how many years away from the Prem? After how many years away from European glory?
Decades and decades.
That's super exciting. So, and it's funny because I was talking to you the other day. I was like, I looked at this matchup like, it's just Nottingham Forest. And then I forget that they're doing so good.
I had to remind you.
It's like, wait a minute. It's not the Nottingham Forest of last year.
Absolutely
it
not.
The new one under Nuno
Espirito Santo.
Yes.
Yep.
It's like, oh, man. I'm excited.
Here's the thing, though. City have beaten Forest the last 4 times out of the 5 that they've faced. Forest were able to hold them to a 1-1 draw a couple seasons ago at the City ground. And like I've mentioned to you before, I mean, that place is difficult to go to. Forest make it so hard, especially when those big 4, big 5, big 6 Premier League clubs go there. But it's huge because Forest right now are 4th, 1 point ahead of City in 5th. I mean, this is a huge game. And I think Forest, although I agree, I mean, they will be unbelievably happy with how the season has turned out. And if they make it a Champions League or not, they'll appreciate how their team has played. But they've made it so far. I feel like it's like they don't want to lose that dream now. And I mean, if they don't win this game, like you said, City are only focusing on the Premier League now. I mean, it gets a little tricky for Forest to make it into the top 4.
But I think I have full faith in them. They're one of the hottest teams right now.
Why not?
I think they'll probably finish 4th, maybe at the end of the year, but we'll have to see. I think they can pull it off.
Imagine finishing ahead of City. Imagine that for Forest fans. Unbelievable. Patrick, I know you want to talk a little bit of American soccer.
Yes.
Talk to me.
So the first one we're going to do, of course, is going to be my Orlando City.
Yes.
They're headed up to play New York City this weekend.
At Yankee Stadium.
Always a very fun place to play.
Yes.
Always very fun.
It always makes me laugh.
And this is also one of the matchups where it's always pretty entertaining, I think, because we did come in MLS at the same year.
Yes.
So we're kind of like expansion rivals in that sense. There's like an unofficial rivalry, I would say, because it seems like every major game we've played has been against them. Like our first playoff game was against them. I mean, they have 9 wins, there's 10 draws, and then we have 7 wins all time.
It's tight.
So it's pretty close. I mean, it's been pretty even. We unfortunately haven't beaten them since August of 2022. So pretty rough.
You got to get that
hopefully
off your back.
Hopefully that this past weekend when they beat Toronto 4-2 at home, they can use that high, head into this baseball field of New York City, and take those 3 points from it, because that's a great way to continue that momentum. Especially we've seen guys like Ojeda. He's really starting to turn up. I think Pasalic was great on opening weekend.
Absolutely.
A little bit toned down on
the second
Toronto,
game,
but it's okay. The academy guys, the young guys, they're showing up. I mean, Freeman, he's already locked down that, I think, starting
what
spot
a youngster,
defense,
man.
you know?
He looks so good. He impressed me.
He really did.
Yes.
And, I mean, even when he played like 20 minutes against Philadelphia on the first match day, I was like, oh, yeah, like that's who we should be starting. I love Thorholson on the right, but right now it's got to be Freeman.
It's got to be Freeman.
Because he's a machine.
How can you take out someone so energetic, young?
No, you can't. You
just
cannot.
Powerful like he is. I mean, he looks like a a unit. I believe his dad actually played American football.
He was a Super Bowl champion.
There you go. And he got those genes, man, because that guy can run for days. Let's talk a little bit about the starts of the seasons. Of course, New York City drawing away at Inter Miami 2-2. They
Just at the
were
last minute.
They were about to get those 3 points. Then they go to LAFC, a tough place to go to. BMO Field, I believe it's called. Lose 1-0 there. Orlando City, 2-4-2s to start.
0 goal differential.
I see Congratulations. I see a lot of goals in this one.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I feel like when there has been a lot of goals, it's always been against us when it comes to New York City. Like, I remember them beating us like 5-1, 4-2. It's always been pretty rough away for us for whatever reason. It's just a hard pitch to play on.
It's so awkward. It's so awkward.
It's so small.
Yeah.
It's so weird. The turf is terrible because part of it is still like clay.
Right.
It's like, what are we doing here?
On the near side, it's the diamond still. So
what are we doing here? 10 years on, and they're still playing in the base. But anyways,
wow.
They do have a soccer-specific stadium coming soon.
It's coming up.
In a couple of years.
Cut them some slack.
I'm glad to see that. But it's taken way too long to get to that. But Orlando City away in New York, it's going to be a fun one to watch.
Absolutely, I agree.
I'll have to keep an eye on that when we're in Tampa this weekend.
That's no. Another Nona soccer shout-out.
That's
what?
Two?
What? Let's tone it down a little bit, Patrick, please.
What's your next one that you've got coming up?
I'm going back to Europe, and I'm going to the Bundesliga because we have a big game again, kind of in that top 4, top 5 race. Leipzig at home. Freiburg at home against Leipzig. Now, it's a close game. If you look at the table, only 2 points separate them, 5th and 6th. The problem here is Leipzig, although they've had a weird season, I mean, Champions League, they were useless, right? That's just the only way to describe it. Bundesliga, Bundesliga, they've been, a bit up and down as well. But Freiburg sit in 5th, Leipzig in 6th. Leipzig have beaten Freiburg in each of the last 5 games, though. Is this the one that you think Freiburg might get an edge on them, though?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like it can kind of go either way because Bundesliga, sometimes it can be pretty unpredictable. Yeah. And Leipzig, like you said, Champions League.
Oof, that was terrible.
Bundesliga, they're on and off.
Yeah.
Freiburg, I mean, I feel like I like to back the underdogs more, and I always see Freiburg more as an underdog than Leipzig. So I'm going to go with Leipzig on this one. I think they can pull it off for sure.
Okay. And we've seen Mainz, for example, in 4th.
Yes, yeah.
They might. That's, I think, the farthest equivalent in Germany, Mainz.
Right now, yeah.
Maybe making it Champions
That'd
League.
Be super exciting.
Absolutely. And keeping teams like Leipzig, like Wolfsburg, who are right there, out of those positions is going to be interesting. I don't know. This could be another crazy match. I wouldn't be surprised if Leipzig drop it, to be honest with you, especially away from home. You want to take us to the USL Championship real quick, though, to end this segment?
USL 1, actually.
USL 1?
So,
excuse my French.
A new team that's going to start this year.
Okay.
Just down the road. Little city called Naples, right?
FC Naples on the water.
Yeah, so this is going to be their first matchup ever. They're going to be playing Chattanooga Red Wolves.
Okay.
So, we have no previous history on Naples.
No.
Their jerseys are fire.
Oh, they're so nice.
And Chattanooga, I've looked at their numbers. They're okay.
So are you telling me that
Naples already first match day to get a win?
They're gonna go 1-0.
I mean, it's just like, but I love their jerseys.
Oh,
that's why I wanted to talk about them. Like, I don't know
Naples.
if you've seen pictures of them.
Naples,
they're beautiful, beautiful. And it's an exciting market. I mean, the team, the city, the community seems to actually really embrace this club.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've seen the rollout for the past couple months. I think everybody's excited for this.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what the attendance looks like, the numbers. I'm sure it'll be.
I'm sure it's gonna be. It's gonna be bouncing. I think.
For sure.
I think we have to keep an eye on that little franchise right there, especially. I've been able to follow them a little closely because, of course, Nico Cantor on CBS Golasso is part owner. Of course, son of Andres Cantor, the legendary commentator. So I've kind of kept my eye on them, and it looks exciting.
It is.
And I think because a lot of the, attention, especially here in Florida, was Sporting Club Jacks, right? They were supposed to be the new club.
A sleeper
exactly, but it's completely flipped on its head. FC Naples look exciting. They're going to be in style while doing it. And I agree. Why not? A big Naples win on their
get
big
that
night.
Statement win, first opening night. I'm super excited to see how that turns out.
Let's do it. USL 1. Who would have thought it? We're going to enjoy it this weekend. But to wrap it up, we're going to continue on that United Soccer League theme because a huge announcement. What are they going to do? Well, you're going to want to stay tuned to find out.
Behind every on-screen moment is a whole team of engineers and technologists.
And you can be a part of such a team through SIMTI at UCF. You'll join a team of students just like you who are ready to innovate the future of TV and film.
With SIMTI at UCF, you'll be able to connect with local industry pros, learn about new technology in the industry, as well as get backstage experience that really matters. Join SIMTI for a backstage pass to all of this.
We meet every last Monday of the month for our general body meetings. There, we discuss how new technology is being used to create new media, and we get to highlight local professionals and their specialties.
On top of that, we have some site visits planned, so tune into our social media to be notified of when those will happen.
So if you're ready to pull back the curtain and find out what really happens behind the scenes, join SIMTI at UCF.
All right, everyone, we are back for a third and final segment, Patrick. I don't know how we've made it here, but we actually were able to bring you an HTFC this week, so we're happy about that. Whirlwind before, but anyway, let's push that aside because we're here and we're having fun. USL,
Yes.
huge announcement recently.
Of course.
Let's look ahead, right? Because we have a whole World Cup, but let's push that aside. It's just a World Cup, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
2027, 28.
Right.
They want to bring promotion and relegation to the U.S. potentially. They want to create a league to rival MLS, which would be the first time MLS kind of has this competitive, almost threat, I would call it.
For sure.
Talk to me about that. I mean, this is completely new for U.S. sports.
This could be the moment I think that everybody has been waiting for.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like you said, history lesson. 94 World Cup, what did that give us eventually?
MLS in 96.
Now we have the 2026 World Cup. What's that practically going to give us?
Open
USL,
system.
Open system.
Wow.
Sure, I'm sure they're going to try it out within USL leagues itself because currently we have Championship 1 and 2. Right. They've always toyed around with the idea of promotion and relegation. We haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
But I think this is the actual first real step
I
that
think
everybody
yeah.
has seen. It's like, oh, they're serious about it.
Right.
So if they're going to go for a D1 sanctioned league to rival MLS, that's 4 leagues within the USL system that they can implement that. Now, they're going to have to restructure so much.
Completely.
So
Because there's
much.
an imbalance right now within the
Of course,
USL leagues.
Of course, because you look at USL 2,
Right.
50 clubs in there?
Around that.
In a
Around
bunch
that.
of different divisions, obviously.
Yeah.
League 1, there's only 14. Championship, there's 24.
Right.
So how are you going to decide who starts off? Is there
Right.
new cities? I would assume most of these championship clubs start off in that D1 league. And
right. And then
I would have to
one
assume
move
so.
up, and then 2 moves up to 1 a little bit, and they
Right.
kind of just
They gotta
even it out a little bit.
They do, but I think it's doable. I just hope they don't
Yeah.
overcomplicate it for themselves. But what does this
Absolutely.
mean for MLS and the owners of those clubs?
So, of course, and we've talked about this extensively on and off air. Look, for MLS, we've seen it in the past with U.S. sports. NBA affiliated with the league back 50, 60 years ago. NFL did the same thing with the AFL. When these major leagues come under threat, right, a potential merger is possible, and that's usually what they end up doing. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, if this USL thing kicks off and explodes, like, I believe it can, 100%. I believe that the open system is long overdue in the U.S., especially if we want to take this sport seriously in the U.S.
It'll grab more
Oh,
eyes
100%.
because they'll be like, okay, they're actually taking it serious. That's always been one of the biggest critiques. Oh, there's no promotion relegation,
That's right.
so there's no competition.
There's no punishment, if you will, for underachieving. And like we've talked about, all U.S. sports are closed. You have the major league teams, and then you have the minor league teams who are usually affiliated with them. And what? A triple-A baseball team playing in the MLB? That's unfathomable. What is that? Promotion and relegation? What is that?
What is that?
Soccer is different, and it provides the opportunity to introduce this to U.S. sports. Not saying NBA is going to become promotion relegation. I'm not saying that. But for soccer to truly kick off, because we've seen the explosion it's had, the W League, the Super League, right? Also kicking off, NWSL expanding. I mean, this might be that moment where that expansion of the sport in this country really takes off and really explodes.
I mean, we've even seen potential changes coming to like college soccer as well.
Absolutely.
You know? So I think all this falls in line. Like,
oh my
it's
goodness.
going to need a total restructure.
Completely forgot about
everything,
that. Yeah.
You know? It's going to be very interesting to see how MLS looks at this and how they go about it. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually, we get MLS and then all the USL underneath, which I think that should be how it should have been in the first place.
Absolutely.
Years ago, right? But again, business models, it's a competition, trying to be better than the other.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I think, find the USL to be more authentic for whatever. It's
a more
markets,
pure experience.
Yeah, because teams have really more control over what they want to do. You know, they're not all, say, under the same, you know, like Adidas brand, right? They all have their own manufacturers. I think people enjoy that more. They feel like, okay, it doesn't feel like a franchise.
And they don't have billionaire owners. You know what I mean? Most of the time.
I mean, again, it feels more authentic to the communities. And I think that's what – and you've seen so many teams, I guess, get killed off in USL. Teams that have made the jump to MLS. And people, I think, are just tired of seeing that.
Yeah.
You know? And I think it's time for promotion relegation because there's so many communities that would benefit from this.
Yeah.
And there's no con to it, I think.
And we've seen the U.S. Open Cup, unfortunately, come under threat as well. That's basically been the only real way or chance to see a Cinderella story like we see in England all the time in the FA Cup. Who knows? An example like Wrexham, for example. Who knows where they're going to be in 5 years' time? They are climbing.
Yeah,
they are climbing. And so
that's the beauty of it.
To make that a reality in the U.S., FC Naples, why not make it to the MLS? Work your way up.
Nona FC?
Whoa.
Number 3?
Why not? Just fill Florida with MLS clubs. Why not, though? You know what I mean? Why can't that be a reality?
There's so much potential everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's everywhere. People are begging for it. They're dying for it. But it's just so – I understand it's super hard to cover ground across the United States is huge.
Yeah.
But promotion and relegation does that for you. Like, you don't have to do anything.
Right.
It does it for you.
Right.
All you got to worry about is just paying attention to who goes up and who goes down. And that's it.
And MLS already covers the whole country. Travel is always going to be an issue. It's always going to be an issue. You're going to have jet lag if you move from New York to LA. That's okay. But there's no getting around that.
That's part of it.
There's no getting around that. So why not give it a little more incentive, make it a little spicier, spruce things up? Okay, are we Europeanizing, right? To make a new word, the sport here? Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's how the rest of the world mostly operates. And like I said, I mean, this sport is just, I think the growth has been unexpectedly steep and quick. This would only accelerate that. And especially with the World Cup coming, it's a perfect opportunity.
You have to capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to.
This is the time.
This is the time. And if they don't do it, I'm going to be very upset. World Cup.
Yeah.
All the eyes are on you. If you make changes right after,
oh my gosh,
perfect. You can capture more.
You're riding that wave.
You're riding the wave.
Yes.
You have the Club World Cup this year. You have the World Cup next year. You can have promotion relegation in 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
That's such an exciting thought.
And I've told you, like, if it was down to me, if I was the MLS commissioner or USL whatever, it's today. I would make that move now. Why wait? But of course, we got to let the World Cup happen. We got to be patient. But listen, it's such an exciting proposition. And you even mentioned it a little bit. I didn't even plan on going into it, but just quickly, college teams.
Yeah.
This 3-month season, it looks like a lot of them are getting tired of it and are like, well, if the NCAA won't do anything about it, why not? Let's join USL. Let's join USL.
Crazy.
It's crazy to think about, but it's a real possibility.
Yeah.
So then imagine throwing that in the mix. I mean, oh my goodness.
Again,
this can go in a million different directions.
Of course. They just got to restructure it, right?
Right.
It has to be done right from
Absolutely.
day one. That's the thing. It has to be done right from day one. No BS, no gimmicks to it.
No.
Just true promotion relegation.
None of this Champions Cup and you can choose where you play no. Make it a pure football experience. If that means breaking down USL 2, I'm not opposed to that.
No.
Maybe make it, because 144 clubs, I believe it is.
Of the National League in England. That's all you got to do.
Have a non-league system here, and I think it would explode. The fans would get more invested in it because they see a promotion race. I mean, that would be completely new to an American sports fan, and they would get hooked. If they're hooked now on soccer, I mean, just imagine being involved in a promotion or a relegation fight. As much as it hurts, it's part of it.
That's what I need to experience.
Oh, Orlando City. Oh.
We should have been relegated a couple of times already, but you know, it's one of those things. It's like you gotta experience everything.
I think
we're not getting all of that. Right.
It adds an invaluable amount to the sport in this country, and I can't wait to see it. Can we fast forward 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Real quick.
Next episode we'll be back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll be talking about the promotion picture in the MLS. What, right? Anyway. That's it for this episode of HTFC, Patrick. I had a lot of fun. So much to cover. So much to cover. We'll be looking forward to those league matches, to those Champions League matches. But until next time, of course, stay tuned next week. You'll get your soccer fix as well. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.